2 years after his ex-wife Mickey is strangled and dumped over the rail of a cruise ship, Lonnie Kokontas faces a judge for the first time.
We believe that we have a case that demonstrates very clearly that Lonnie Kokontas killed Mickey Kanazaki on the cruise ship that night.
He is charged with her murder by the U.S. Department of Justice and pleads not guilty. But the case quickly sinks to the bottom even before it gets underway. In a stinging reversal for prosecutors, a federal judge in California rejects the FBI's case for murder, saying the government offered only allegations and speculation to support the charges, and that, quote, there is no physical, visual, or oral evidence linking Kokontas to the murder.
As Judge Goldman said in federal court, there were 2,000 people on that cruise ship. Lonnie was one of them. I mean, there's no forensic evidence connecting him more so than anyone else on that cruise ship.
Lonnie's wife, number 3, testifies to his innocence throughout the ordeal, as does his friend and private investigator. And now Lonnie is a free man. He moves to Florida, and you guessed it, he marries wife number 4.
Obviously, I hope for the best, and I hope that Lonnie can get out from under this and get back to his life.
But not so fast. The Island Escape murder case only seems to have run aground, but it is still very much alive. 6 years after the murder, the case winds up in the hands of the Orange County District Attorney's Office, along with another stunning 180 in the murder mystery that refuses to die. Key witnesses, including Lonnie's 3rd wife, who initially defended Lonnie, are now changing their stories and turning on Lonnie with a vengeance.
Wife number 3 came forward with information about the defendant's statements regarding the crime.
We believe that the evidence will show that wife number 3 was threatened and did not feel safe to tell the truth initially.
The key stuff was Lonnie had told her that he was going to go on a cruise with Mickey and that he was going to have some friends take care of Mickey and that she wouldn't be returning. He had threatened to report her to the police as being involved in the murder or the planning of the murder, or to have her killed.
But defense attorney Corinne Ferrantino says that wife number 3 was coached by a former friend of Lonnie's, a private investigator who turned on Lonnie after a bitter financial dispute between the two.
The DAs then embraced him when they were going to undermine his credibility before. He then was left alone with her in a courtroom, said all kinds of things to her that were very disturbing. She, following that statement then, or that interaction, she then changed her story.
In response, the Orange County District Attorney's Office says it's looking forward to a trial and that, quote, we are ethically precluded from expressing an opinion on the many allegations and theories that are developed by the defense as part of their pre-trial strategy. And based largely on wife number 3's testimony, Lonnie is arrested and brought back to California from Florida in handcuffs, where he remains behind bars. But believe it or not, there's still one bombshell left to reveal, and it's as big as they come. Prosecutors say that while in prison, Lonnie tried to have wife number 3 bumped off to prevent her from testifying against him.
He solicited 2 inmates to kill wife number 3 because she presented a threat to him in the conviction on the murder charge.
That's right. Now he's charged not only with murdering wife number 2, but charged again with soliciting to murder wife number 3.
It appears as if initially one of the inmates he approached, he had hoped would have people on the outside to do it for him.
But Lonnie's attorney is hitting back on the solicitation charges.
So you basically have a whole case built on conversations in a jail with individuals who have a extremely strong motivation to lie to benefit their own situation, and to twist his words or to misconstrue things and to set him up. I think there's just very limited evidence against him, and he would like his day in court.
Meanwhile, Lonnie Kokontas has pleaded not guilty to the new charges as he heads into his 4th year behind bars. But the case is once again moving ahead in the courts, and someday, somehow, there may be justice for Mickey.
This story definitely seems to walk a fine line when it comes to the law, so I brought in attorneys Jesse Weber and Misty Maris to break down their thoughts. Misty, you're the defense lawyer here. You've got two key witnesses who know Lonnie, pointing the finger directly at him. How do you defend this case?
This case is based on sheer speculation. In fact, the only evidence in support of the prosecution's case are these two witnesses. What's the problem with these two witnesses? They've both recanted prior statements.
You heard what Misty said.
This is more than mere speculation, and just the fact that a witness changes their testimony doesn't necessarily mean what they're saying now isn't true. Remember, witnesses don't always come forward first with full information and the truth, maybe because of coercion, maybe out of fear, which is what Lonnie's ex is saying. And I think it's important for the prosecution to stress what the truth is now.
This wasn't a traditional cruise ship. It was a freighter that had passengers on it, no security cameras. The FBI believes that's why he picked this particular cruise.
Chris, that is all pure speculation and
No, it's
circumstantial
not.
evidence.
No, it's not.
It is
No,
100%.
it's not. He knew what he was doing when he bought the tickets.
Witness testimony.
No.
And you know where they found out that information, where that lead was from? One of the recanting witnesses.
All of a
But
sudden, he rekindles a relationship with her and then goes on there and she automatically disappears and he goes back to his ex-wife.
Misty, there are other issues with this case. Who leaves a foreign country with their wife missing and goes back to the United States? How do you explain that?
Let's remember that he was told by Italian law enforcement that there was absolutely no chance that his wife would be found alive.
Jesse, jurisdiction. How do you even prosecute this case in the U.S. when the crime occurred in the Mediterranean?
It's a very strong argument to say that Lonnie purchasing the tickets in California was part of a premeditated plan to murder her abroad for financial gain, very simply.
Ultimately, what happens in this case, Jesse as prosecutor?
Either he's going to take a plea deal because remember, death penalty is on the table, so he might want life. Other than that, he's going to be found guilty. It is just too much for a jury to handle.
4 very important words: beyond a reasonable doubt.
He was the last one to see her alive.
That does not matter. That fact alone is not conclusive to the case. It is still sheer speculation.
This will be a case to watch. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
Lonnie Kokantis is due back in court next week, and we'll bring you the very latest on his trial right here on Crime Watch Daily.